Hello, class, and welcome once again to Beatle University. I'm Professor Moptop, and this week we're going to talk about a song that's one of my very favorite Beatles songs for several reasons. One big being is that it's just a really fun White Album track. It's a McCartney song, and it's called Honey Pie. Now, it's not to be confused with Wild Honey Pie. That was written in India with a bunch of the musicians sitting around a circle playing their guitar and just saying the words honey pie again and again and again and again and again. That became Wild Honey Pie on the album. Now, likely that was inspired from Wild Honey, which was a Beach Boys song that came out in late 1967. And when they were sitting around in India talking about music and the music that they loved, Mike Love of the Beach Boys was one of the guys there. And it's very likely that Wild Honey eventually became Honey Pie, which became Wild Honey Pie, and then came back to being Honey Pie. It's what Paul McCartney referred to as sounding like one of those, this is his quote, fruity old songs from his childhood. He's talking about the music that his father played for him. He specifically cited the song by Fred Astaire, Cheek to Cheek. And it's very possible, although unconfirmed, that the name Honey Pie in the song Honey Pie is sort of inspired by the character Sugar Cane, who was Marilyn Monroe's character in the film Some Like It Hot. It's very likely that Paul might have had the tune a little bit about this in India and then wrote it when they got back from India, but it was demoed when they demoed all the songs just before starting the official recording session. So it's kind of in the middle of the India trip and the White Album demo sessions that this song was written. In the song, Paul's singing about a Liverpool working girl. A working girl might be a prostitute. It might just be a hardworking girl who lives in Liverpool. She went to America and hits it big, and now Paul misses her and loves her. He was trying to write a song that sounded like it was from the 1920s. Way back then, it was a song that was way back when, back then. That's very hard to say. Paul called it his fruity old songs that his father loved. Very late in the sessions, the Beatles went to Trident Studios. Now, Trident Studios had 8-track capabilities, and the Beatles were a little bit bored with being in the same rooms all the time. So it was nice for them to every now and then go to a different studio and record. So Trident Studios, late in the sessions, they spent a week there. They recorded Savoy Truffle, they recorded Honey Pie, a little bit on Martha My Dear. For the basic track, it's Paul playing piano and leading the group through it. Ringo is playing what he calls his jazzy drums. George plays the bass on this track. It's not extremely complicated for a guy who wasn't really used to playing bass. And John plays the guitar. Now, John wasn't very interested in a lot of songs that weren't Lennon songs throughout the throughout the White Album sessions. However, he was very interested in this song from Paul, which he would criticize later on in life, calling it Paul's granny music. But Lennon wanted to play the guitar solo, and he was trying to sound like old French gypsy swing guitarist Django Reinhardt. He does a very nice job on it. He was very proud of it. Paul liked it very, very much. They then added some extra overdubs onto it, which were 5 saxophones and 2 clarinets. George Martin would write these with Paul now. In the past, it was strictly George Martin telling them this is how it was going to be. Now they had gotten to a point where Paul would say, I want this, and I want that, and I would like this, and maybe we can play it like that. Some of these session guys, too, who appear on Honey Pie, appear on several other Beatles songs. In the audio I'm going to send you, you'll hear Professor Moptop breaking that down. It's very, very interesting that some of these guys wound up playing on 3 or 4 Beatles songs when you would normally expect rock and roll type musicians to play on rock and roll type songs. At the very beginning, late in the recording, Paul decided that he wanted to have the beginning sound like a scratchy old record. Now, there's a song that Mike Nesmith wrote called Magnolia Sims, and it's on the Birds, the Bees, and the Monkeys, and that came out in early 1968. And Paul heard that, and he thought, well, this is really interesting to make a record that sounds like an old record, and he then came up with the record scratch at the beginning of Honey Pie. Now, something else you may or may not know. I have a cat named Honey Pie. She doesn't want to be on camera now, which is unusual because she's usually all over the place when I'm recording these. At any rate, on the White Album, we get all sorts of different songs, and one of the more interesting ones is one that sounds like a very, very old song, which is, of course, Honey Pie. Be looking for your emails. You're going to be getting 2 very cool hunks of audio all about Honey Pie. Honey Pie the song, not to be confused with Honey Pie the cat. Thank you so much for everything. As always, I will talk to you next time. I'm Professor Moptop.